Welcome to DIR Vendor ITSAC Portal Demo. My name is Chandra Thompson. I will be the new contact person for the ITSAC portal. Also on the webinar with me is Beth Perry. She will do the demo for the portal. If you are a current vendor with DIR, you already will have your login information for the new portal. If you are a new vendor with DIR for ITSAC, once your contract is established, you will be sent by email your login information. The contract manager for ITSAC will be Tracy Lamone. Alrighty, I will turn it over to Beth and she will start the demo.
All right, thank you, Chandra. Vendors with a current ITSAC contract that will be getting a new contract will already have credentials and will already have their person in line, and they'll already be able to log in. New vendors will get new credentials. It will come in the form of an email, a welcome to a community email, and you'll set up your login and your password there from that email. If you ever need to log straight into the portal without going through the email, you can log into it right here, sign into My DIR, receive your credentials. Let me stop here. So you'll have these to choose from, and you are a DIR ITSAC vendor, so this is the app that you want to select. In most cases, your username will be your email address. However, we have some vendors that also have Bidstamp credentials and they have ITSAC credentials, so we can't have the same username. So you always need to, let me rephrase, you always need to pay attention whether you're putting in your username or your email address. A username is in the form of an email address, but it may not be your email address. So that's something to remember. So you'll get a screen like this. And the way you can tell where you are is up here, it will say ITSAC vendor. If you see Bidstamp right here, then you've got the wrong URL. This will be your home screen. And the first time you log in, the open solicitation field may be blank. It may not be any open solicitations. It depends on when you log in and when customers start submitting solicitations to the new portal. This little blurb of customer information right here is here for just to let people know what's going on with the changeover from the old contracts to the new contract. So this is your login information right here. So that this is the home page for you, or you can log out. There's a home button right here. And if you're a current ITSAC vendor on the View Closed Solicitations, you'll be able to click this tab and it will take you to solicitations that are in the status of either closed or canceled. We also have some old ones in here. So again, for the current vendors, there'll be quite a few of them in here. For the new vendors, this will be empty until the first one gets either canceled or awarded or closed with no responses. From here, you can just go back to the home screen, click home. So this is the list of the open solicitations, the solicitation IDs. This is a customer generated number. We don't have anything to do with the number, but this is the link that you'll click on when you want to respond to it. You'll be able to see the status. So this is posted, meaning that you can respond to it. This one is in customer review, meaning that they've already passed the deadline date and the customer is reviewing resumes, so there won't be a chance for you to add candidates to that one. Right here, it'll tell you who the customer is. Here, it'll give you a combination of the title and the level that the customer is looking for. This is the deadline date, and this will tell you what type of SSR it is. So in the new program, you'll be able, customers will be able to post statements of work or requests for resume. If you scroll this way, there's also more information like how many resumes per vendor the customer is allowing. Right here, this screen this tells you how many you have submitted. So right now I can see that they're asking submit up to 5, and I haven't added a candidate at all. So when I go in and submit the first one, this will increment. And this is the same for a statement of work, if I've submitted a statement of work or not. This tells me the date that the customer posted it. And here's more information. This is the category. So the category is like the parent, and then the title and level are the children. And here's the created date. So if I would like to add a resume to this one, or submit a candidate to this one, I would just click on the ID. So this page right here gives me the ability to download the forms. So if I would like to submit this packet to my potential candidates to see if they're interested, I can click here to download forms, and this will depend on your browser behavior. So I am in Firefox right now. Click download forms. They open with Word. Again, depending on the browser that you're using. And I will say while we're waiting, it's optimized for Chrome, Firefox, and Edge, and doesn't play so well with Internet Explorer. So if you can kind of stick with Chrome, Firefox, or Edge, that would make your life easier.
And just a reminder that if a customer solicits through the portal, then you need to respond through the ITSEC portal. If you receive the solicitation via email, please respond through the email to send your resumes.
So it'll open it in a separate window. And so now you can see you've got the reference number here, what they're asking for, the negotiated not to exceed rate, more information. Williamson County is looking for this. The list of the description of the required skills is here. Keep going down, and then we get to the forms. So this is the form that you want to send off to your available candidates. There's one for references, there's one for their skills. So you enter their actual skills here. And the right to represent form, and it already has the company name. So whatever vendor you are, your name will be in here. That is downloading the form so that you can send that off and get candidates. At the point where you're ready to submit a candidate, you can click right here where there's the Add Candidate button in the upper right-hand corner. And you would enter the candidate's first name. And you would enter an hourly rate, and I'm going to enter something. Availability, you can put today's date. Are they a subcontractor? No. All right, so the reason I did that is I was showing that we have validation to prevent you from entering an hourly rate that exceeds the not to exceed rate. If you click on the information button right here, it will also do a pop-up to give you again the information of what the not to exceed rate is. So I can change that to 35. I'm going to say no. The next thing I have to do is enter their skills. So we require the skills, the years that this particular candidate has with this skill. We require that. And you've already sent the form to them, so you'll have the form and you just enter the data this way. And the last thing you do is you attach the PDF package. So for the current vendors, you're already aware of how this works. For the new vendors, we have all of the explanation right here. This is how the PDF should be named. And here's an example right here. Don't use any special characters. And the package needs to include the candidate's requirements form, their resume, their reference form, and the right to represent. And you can only attach one PDF here, so it has to be zipped in one folder. So click here to upload files, and then you'll just browse to your location.
And all resumes are due by 5 p.m. on the due date. So please allow yourself time to fill out the paperwork and hit submit. So if you go in there at 4:58 and by the time you hit submit, it's 5:01, your resume will not go through.
All right, it'll let you know that you've uploaded the file and you say done, and then you can see it right here. If this is the wrong one, you can X out of here and attach a new one, or you can click next. You have the place to add comments if you need to. If you have anything special to say or to add there, or you can just click save. And they've been successfully added, and then you click finish. So that will take you back to the candidates page of the solicitation that you were on. So you can see the candidate here. And because this one allowed for 5, I'm going to go ahead and add another candidate. And this time I'm going to add one that is a subcontractor. I'm going to say he's not available until October 9th, and he's a subcontractor. So now I'm going to show what the subcontractor screen looks like. So when you hit next, it'll ask for the name of the company and what percentage. And here's the hub type. So what's the hub type for that? And I'm going to say that's a disabled vet. Say next. And then you're back to entering the skills for this person. Browse for their packet, for their PDF packet. Let's see right there. Next. No comments. There you go. And now I can see so far that I've added 2 candidates to this particular solicitation. I can continue adding candidates until it tells me I've hit the maximum. Or I can go back to my home page. I'm going to go back to the home page right now, and I'll show you that your candidate numbers incremented. So you can see right here, you've added 2 candidates. So you want to use these 2 fields right here will tell you if you've responded by submitting a candidate or a statement of work response. So this is the one you want to use for that. If you're done adding candidates, you can log out and you're done, and just wait until the deadline at October 1st at 5 p.m. That'll be the end of it. You can add candidates up to October 1st at 5 p.m. But like Chandra said, if you're in the middle of adding it and it saves after 5, that particular candidate won't be submitted. Now I'm going to show adding to a specialist.
Okay. And the instructions on how to format your submissions can be found in the solicitation document sections 10 and 11. Please follow the directions carefully. And if you have any questions, please email the DIR staff augmentation at dir.texas.gov for assistance.
Alrighty. So in the new, in this new solicitation, we have the level of specialist, meaning that the negotiated rate will be the rate between the vendor, the candidate, and the agency, and we don't have a not to exceed rate for that. So you'll see in the working title, you'll see specialist for the title level for this one in particular, a change management manager specialist is what they're looking for. So all that does is it changes the forms a little bit, that there won't be a not to exceed rate in there. And when you add the candidate, you can add the candidate with the hourly rate of what you're offering. This one's going to be.
You can upload candidates anytime prior to the deadline. If you need to withdraw one or submit another one, this can also be done anytime before the deadline.
Okay. All right. And to speak to Chandra's point there, I'll show you that, let's say that after I submitted Brett for this job, I get an email from Brett that said that he has taken a job somewhere else, so he doesn't want to be considered for this job. So I can go into Brett, I can click on the candidate right here, and I can delete him. And that removes Brett from there, and then that gives me the opportunity to submit a new candidate for there. And you'll have the opportunity, if you have, say you have candidates submitted to 5 or 6 different open solicitations, and one of your candidates takes a job at agency A, but you've submitted them to B, C, and D, you can go in and you can withdraw them from those open solicitations so that the customer doesn't spend time interviewing somebody who's already gotten a job somewhere. So you have the ability to do that. And I can add a new candidate here if I want to. So I'm going to go back to the home page. So that kind of walks through showing you what it looks like to submit candidates. You can see now I had one there, but now I'm down to 0 because I removed the candidate. So again, blank means not responded. 0 means you had one and you removed at least one. For a statement of work, this one is different because the information for whatever the statement of work is going to be in this document right here. And in order for you to view the statement of work, you just click on that and open up the document, and then you can read what the customer is asking for. I'm not going to do that here. I demonstrated that behavior a minute ago. To submit a response, all you can do for a statement of work is submit a response document. You can submit as many documents as you want, and they can be in PDF, Word, or Excel. And we just ask you to limit each of the uploads to 20 megs or less. So I'm going to, and you can do this where you can multiple click and do 3 at once. And we'll see the upload screen here. Hit done. And then you see your 3 files right here. Hit next. And it tells you you've successfully submitted your response to an SOW. And then we finish. And this is your response to that SOW solicitation. So here it is right here. So from this screen, this is showing you that you've submitted a response to it, but because we haven't hit the deadline date yet, you can still add documents to it if you'd like, or you can delete and start a new response. So to add one, you just click there, and so you can see here's your 3 documents, and you can upload more if you'd like, or close. And I'm gonna go back to the home page, and then I'll show where it looks like we've responded. So here's the statement of work one, and now I see that I've responded to it. And again, that's how you know that you've responded. Blank means you haven't submitted anything. A number above 0 means you've submitted something. The statuses here will change once the deadline date at 5 o'clock on 10/1. All of these statuses are going to be changed to customer reviewing, and you'll no longer be able to add to that. I'll show you what that looks like. So you see there's no candidate button up here. If I click on the candidates tab, I can see if I had submitted anybody or not, which I didn't. But I can't add a candidate because it's past the deadline. You'll be notified when customers submit. You'll get an email that will come to the person who has the role on the contract of ITSAC contact. They'll get an email that will give you a link, which will take you here to your home page, and you can start responding here. If the customer cancels it after it's been posted, you'll get an email. If the customer edits it or changes the deadline date, you will also get an email. So every time you'll be whoever's in that contact role is going to get those email notifications.
In a candidate whose name in Form D is submitted by more than one vendor for the same opportunity may be considered by the customer. It will be at the customer's discretion, but they may hire a candidate submitted by multiple vendors.
This is an example of candidates that have a status of underqualified years, meaning that their skills, number of years did not meet the requested skills from the customer. However, they are still available to be interviewed by the customer. And this status won't display until after the deadline has passed. So this is just an example of what that looks like. It'll either say underqualified years or potential duplicate.
Thank you, Beth, for that demo of the ITSAC vendor portal. I have a couple of helpful tips I wanted to go over before we end it. You can upload candidates at any time prior to the deadline. If you need to withdraw one and submit another, that can be done anytime before the deadline. But if you're just withdrawing the candidate, that can be done after the deadline also. And just as a reminder, vendors are prohibited from contacting a customer to discuss an open, competitive solicitation during the work order solicitation. However, vendors are allowed to market their business to the customer. So if you want to meet with a customer to discuss what your company does or can provide, that's fine, but you cannot call the customers to discuss the competitive solicitation they have open. Do that. Vendors are prohibited from submitting a substitute candidate during the interview process if the original candidate is no longer available. Vendor may offer a replacement candidate if the purchase order has been issued and the original candidate is no longer available, but that would be up to the discretion of the customer. This concludes our webinar. If you need any assistance, please email DIR staff augmentation at dir.texas.gov. If you have any questions regarding your contract, please contact Tracy Lamone at Tracy, Tracy, limon, Limon, @dir.texas.gov. Thank you for joining us today.